Hi there, welcome to 100 Days of the 100's. Let's get moving here. I wanted to do some different warm-up exercises today to get things going. So let's start on all fours. We're going to put our hands right under our shoulders and tuck your toes under. Let's rock forward and back a few times. Spread your fingers really wide here, like you're making heavy handprints into the ground. In fact, let's take a moment to really feel those handprints. So you're going to spread your fingers wide and let the bones of your hands kind of sink down into your mat. When your hands sink down into your mat, it's almost like the back of your shoulders can float up, like you're creating space in your wrists. You're creating some space through the elbows and space through your shoulders, like you're creating a feeling of traction through your arms. Tuck your chin a little. And now let's just start to rock the pelvis, and we'll start to get that movement happening through the rest of the spine. Noticing where your spine is really flexible, and maybe noticing some areas where it might feel a little bit stuck. Let's start to go all the way through the spine, ripple through the middle, up through your heart, through your throat, and roll your eyes all the way up to the sky, relaxing your jaw. And then start at the tail once again, ripple through your low back, your middle back. Lift your heart up between your shoulder blades, tuck your chin, and roll your eyes all the way to your heart. One more time, nice and smooth. Pull your shoulder blades down your back here. And then you go the other way, your shoulder blades slide apart. Good. Let's just get that thoracic spine moving. That's the area where your ribs are. Lots of times we think we're moving our whole spine, but the part that's relatively easy for us to move is the lumbar spine and the neck. So lots of times we think we're doing this great big movement, but we're really just moving our pelvis and our head. So let's just try a couple more times. Really involve the ribs. And what helps us to involve the ribs is that shoulder blade movement, action and strength down through our hands as we pull the heart up. Yes. And then here, it's those muscles around the shoulder blades, pulling them down and together, that are going to help to open the chest. All right, let's sink down into a child's pose here. Do a little rocking from side to side. You can let your head fall. You might want to shake out your hands and wrists or just open them up to the sky here. So let's, after that little rest, we're going to come back up on all fours, and let's do some more spinal traction. We're going to think of, well, we were doing arm traction. Now let's think about spinal traction. So we're going to tuck the right toes under, push back into your right heel. Bring your weight into the center, tuck your chin, and push out through your head. Feel like you're creating a long line of tension from your back heel to the top of your head. Push down through your hands and feel that sense of the ribs floating away from the ground. And now let's switch sides. Left leg, toes tucked under. Really plug that back heel into a socket behind you. Flatten the ribs. Feel that sense of traction through your arms. Tuck your chin and push out through your head. Good. Now, let's do both legs. So we're going to do that right leg first. Find that feeling of strength and traction across the chest and from the head to your heel. Adding the other leg. And let's just do a little rocking forward and back here. Stretching our wrists, doing a little strengthening through the center of our body. Squeeze your butt cheeks together. And then let's come back down into a little rest of child's pose. You might just rest on your elbows. Could also make little fists with your hands and rest your forehead here. Or if it's comfortable, let your head fully drop. Move your breath all the way down into your pelvis, into your side ribs, your back ribs. Let's do a little rotation here. I'm going to bring one elbow to the ground, press my hands together, and push down through your top hand as you turn your chest. Now, if this is really easy for you to get down, you might even bring the back of your shoulder closer to the floor. Find that little rotation there. And let's try that on the other side. Reach across, maybe just place your elbow, stack your hands, turning your head, And if you wanted to get a little further, try to get the back of your shoulder down, and then stack your hands and push down through your top hand, turning your head. And come back to the center. Maybe you come on your elbows and wiggle your spine. You feel that I'm losing my shirt here. So let's just try one more little exercise here in our child's pose, and then we'll get to our 100s. I'm going to place my elbows on the floor. Press your hands together like this, or you can interlace your fingers. We're going to move and mobilize the thoracic spine some more. So now let's pull the heart back, push down and out through your elbows. You're like a turtle disappearing into your shell. You even curl your tailbone to the pubic bone. Now press your elbows into your knees, glide your heart forward, lift your tailbone, lift your heart, lift your eyes. Let's do it with breath now. Exhale as you pull your heart back, push into the ground with your elbows and away from you. And then press your elbows into your knees to glide forward. One more time. Good. And then we're going to roll up to seated position and open out the chest and wiggle your spine. Let's do one more thing here before we get onto the floor. We're going to tuck our toes under, just give our feet a little stretch. If it's too much, just lean forward and you decide how much you want to sit back into your heels. Let's just wake up our feet. Remember, we want to be doming our feet in the 100s. So this is going to have my feet nice and agile, very awake. And then relax the feet and come back. Okay, so I'm going to get into my position for 100s here. Let's work our way down to the floor. We're going to roll through the spine, making our way a little closer, and then we're going to come all the way down. Let's remember some of our elements. We have percussive breathing, so I'm going to just remind my body what that is. I need to let the belly stay a little bit engaged, breathing into my side ribs, bottom ribs. I'll start with just a 3 for practice. Okay, so I happened to have been teaching at a Pilates place the other day, and one of the people was doing her percussive breathing a lot like this, like very, 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 very fast. Now, there might be a reason behind that, but I've always understood it needs to be a real breath. So we want to do it slow enough that we're actually breathing and pausing, because we're challenging the intercostal muscles. So we want to engage and give them a moment to relax. Then we engage again. So let's do it as a 4 pulse this time and see if we can keep a nice steady rhythm with a space. So we'll start with 4. Good. Okay, so let's put our arms in place, float the arms, make our little spoons, hug the thumb, hug the baby finger. We're going to do our quarter curl. So we're going to keep the pelvis level, lengthen out through the top of your head, roll your eyes down, lower your chin, and curl up, looking down towards your belly. Keep floating the arms away. Often I see people a little bit up like this. So think of reaching your fingertips towards your heels. Good. So we've been adding legs, so let's continue with adding legs, and let's keep the legs just a little past our hips, doming the feet. Let's see if we can make it to about 6 or 8 sets. So I'm going to inhale. This is 3. We're doing a 4 pulse, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. And good. I started to get cramps in my toes. So that does happen when we're doming our feet. Sometimes we get these little foot cramps. So you probably saw me kind of wiggling my feet there. Let's rock our knees from side to side. Relax your pelvis. So that was 7. That's pretty good. We're getting close to our 10. So let's just practice some spinal curls here. So we're going to curl the tailbone to the pubic bone, press into the 4 corners of our feet, pull the pelvis a little bit higher, push down through our arms. And now we're not lifting too high here, but let's really work on exaggerating the curl of the tail to the pubic bone. Soften across the chest, soften through your neck. Try to lower 1 vertebra at a time. So I'm moving from my ribs down to L1, L2, L3 is right behind our belly button, L4, then touch the top of the pelvis and relax. When we relax, we can feel the bottom of the pelvis kind of widen out. Let's do that one more time. Curl your tailbone, roll to the top of your pelvis. So we're articulating the spine from the bottom to the top sequentially through the lumbar to those low ribs. And let's include those bottom few ribs. Let's walk our feet a little bit closer. So we're going to work on now strengthening a little bit through our back body. Just float 1 foot off, flex the foot, reach out through the heel. Lift your leg up, lower your leg down, bend, and place. Reestablish the balance here. Let's do the other one. Float the other foot off. Stretch the leg out, float up and back. Place your foot, lift the pelvis, curl the tailbone, and roll through your spine. Walk your feet a little wider, open your arms a little wider, and we'll rock from side to side. All right, let's do one last set. So we're going to do our breath in a 5 pulse, but we're only going to do 4 or 5 sets of the 100s this time. So I want you to go at your own pace. If a 5 pulse is too much, then just do 4. You don't have to be in sync with me. I'm going to try and dome my feet, but I have a feeling they might start cramping again. I'm also going to stretch my legs out so you can keep your knees bent here. Is a little easier. This is a little more challenging. You could also stretch one leg at a time. You can stretch one leg and then stretch the other leg. It's up to you. There go my toes again. Okay, so let's take a breath in. Exhale, reach the hands away. If I'm flexing my feet like this, it's just because they're cramping. All right, find those deep core abdominal muscles. Inhale. Exhale for 5 if you can. Last one. Good. Let's take a little rest here. Maybe roll all the way to one side and then to the other side, just to give your spine a little rest. Come back to the center and do a few soft slow breaths here. Letting your shoulders fall into the earth and letting that tailbone relax. Those low back muscles need to be relaxed. Letting your breath begin to slow down and soften. Good. So you can stay in your rest. You don't need to get up for me. You might even feel like there's a few other exercises you want to do now that you've gotten started. If you have any questions about anything we're doing here today, please put them in the comments and keep following along. See you again.